going on? Sitting out here, frickin' barefoot walking around, catching some of this frickin' sun, cause I realize it's like you need to frickin' get the sun these days when it's available, because it's like our body actually, like the plants, like it's called photosynthesis. Our bodies have a mind. We don't survive off photosynthesis, but we have a form of it in us. It's in our skin, basically. It like converts raw materials that we consume, and somehow it interacts with the sunlight and converts them into different stuff. I mean, I'm not expert on how that works. And I have noticed since I've become photosensitive, which means sensitive to light. Like a little bit of light, like even if it just touches my skin for some reason, it'll like wake me up out of sleep. The moon last night, it was like I was watching. This is crazy, but I could feel the moonlight last night. Like, I know that sounds freaking weird, but you could feel it actually, just like you did. Like, no doubt, right now, this light shining on me, I can feel this freaking sun. Okay, so it's like I just happened to for a second just notice it, that it's like certain nights you can actually feel it. Like it's almost like it changes the atmosphere of things. And you'll have really dark shadows at night, because a lot of times you don't actually have shadows at night because the moon ain't bright enough to actually create a shadow. But what I noticed last night as it was getting dark, it was like, all right, there's these old medieval paintings, okay, where it looks like it's kind of it's like drawn on a circular thing, or it's regular paper on bottom. They curve it over the top, but on the freaking side they'll have the sun and they'll have clouds, all right, and then in the middle there's a dividing line, and on the other side is the moon, and then there's stars, right? And I swear yesterday, like for a second, right, because the sky was totally clear. When you catch a clear sky, it's like, whoa, because you're not used to seeing that, like stars actually, these days either. As much as sun is a rarity, like seriously, the Earth has become at least a third part darker, and you don't see the stars a third part less. You know what I'm saying, these days. So, but I noticed right dead west behind me here, there was a frickin' bright frickin' star dead west, right above the horizon. And I do see that star from time to time, year to year. It's crazy. This dude's talking about certain things be written in the heavenly tablets, and that basically does mean like certain days where the astronomical things, like they're there. They like kind of like the Star of Bethlehem. That's written in the heavenly tablets. Even though the occultists and the fucking astrologers have hijacked this whole science, that we're supposed to know the times by these sciences. That's what they're appointed for by God. It's okay if you observe astronomical things or astrology for not astrology, astronomy. It's different. It's like astronomy is like knowledge of the stars, but astrology is trying to forecast things in occult nature by the stars. So the things look a lot alike, but they're not the same. You gotta see that. But anyway, just like yesterday, I seen, look, as the sun was going down here to the west. That's the east. My bad. Sometimes I get backwards with the things for a second when I'm looking in the camera, because everything's flippy anyway. But as the sun was going down before me over here, you could still see the sky was lit just on the edge over there off the west, and above me it was black. It was dark, right? And the moon was coming out in such a way where it was putting off this weird glowing light, to where it was brighter over here where the moon was rising. It was freaking, than it was above me, in between where the sun was setting and the moon was rising. Like the moonlight somehow didn't reach above me, and the sunlight at the same time didn't reach above me, and it was darker above me than it was where the moon was rising and the sun was going down at the same time. I'm not sure if this is a phenomenon that happens during the look at that camera. I'm not sure if it happens during the freaking equinox solstice, or and then we got Passover coming up, and that was like 3 days before Passover. So I mean, look, that's a strange freaking time to see that. But it's interesting. It's interesting to see these things, that the sky actually favored and kind of looks like one of those old medieval plate drawings, like where there's the sun on one side and the moon on the other. And it kind of shows, it almost looks as if we're in a freaking dome. And I definitely seen that, because the way when the sun went down, it was lit up in the sky in a rainbowy type shape like that. You know what I'm saying? Freaking, which was strange. Like over there, especially as you looked at it, it looked like if light was coming in and you were down standing in a big long tunnel and you could see fucking the light on the other side, the same shape kind of that it makes when you see that. Especially when it's an arc shape, freaking or arch shaped top. Like you got a tube over there in freaking Clio that has one of these shaped. It's like a tunnel in the park, for instance. So that's what it looked like over there. And then over here, it was a dome shape, but it was huge over here where the moon was coming out. And the moon it has almost like this bluish kind of weird, like it's just very, very subtle, very, very, very subtle, like illumination, right? I know I'm not trying to be tricky or funny with the words. I'm not throwing no codes out there. That's what it means, man. Freaking, the intensity of the brightness is basically, is what that word kind of means. And, it's pretty freaking crazy. But anyway, yeah, it's like you can definitely, if you become, like, photosensitive, it's like, you won't even be able to see the moon necessarily. You won't even look up, but all of a sudden you'll feel it, that it's a present. The sun, you'll know it's present because it's just like, look, it's fucking bright. But the subtle one, on the other hand, but the sun also, like, look, there's ways when it becomes like weird. The sunlight does, and you can sense it and feel it too. That's like when the sun's going down. If there's rain falling and the sunlight shining through it, it changes the color of it. Or another thing, down in Florida one day, I was fucking sitting there, and a couple counties down, there was smoke fire, right? And I noticed there was this freaking rose-colored light, and I was like, what the frick? And I went outside and looked at the sunset, and it was just smoke from a fire that the light was shining through it. For instance, that's an example of what I'm talking about.